Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Eric.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. You know, some weeks are tougher to come up with a intro for you guys than others. Some weeks are really easy. Last week, obviously, we had to switch up in the middle because our wall was being torn down. But, you know, I recently got invited to my high school reunion, and I said I didn't want to go. And you, our friend Greg, our friend Shinsuke, I don't know if our brother Dan was on board, but you guys were willing to start a GoFundMe to pay for me to go to my high school reunion just so I could get some stories for the podcast intro.
Well, because you so don't want to go.
I don't want to go. I feel like no one would know what I do for a living.
Yeah, well, it's all these people who like have started families or whatever, and then you come in there. Yeah, and that's great. And then you come in there and you're just like, hey, so like I do this thing, and you know, you would name a bunch of artists that nobody knows, and a bunch of behind the scenes people that definitely nobody knows.
So it's a lot. Sometimes your friends want to start a GoFundMe to just get intro stories.
Anyway, so if you want to raise $130 with us, we are absolutely sending
it's 120. It's
120. All right,
but it's not even about the money, just to be completely honest.
Yeah.
But here's what happened this week too. And this is what I wanted to talk about, what you wanted to talk about during the intro of this podcast, which is that, as a lot of you know, our mom on October 17th was hit by a car when she was crossing the street. She was in the hospital for a week and a half. She's now safely at home. She's doing physical therapy. She got a concussion out of it. She got a fractured pelvis.
And we're over there every day.
Every day, we're taking shifts. Our Aunt Jane, our brother Dan, the two of us. Sometimes we go together, sometimes we go as a group, sometimes it's just solo missions, but we're all there helping at all hours with our mom, who is now walking on crutches, and like, it's the little things that become the big things. When she was able to shower by herself, when she was able to walk a full city block and back, it's these things that like, we're working towards getting her to be back to 100%, and everybody expects a full recovery, the doctors, us, mom, and we're very, very thankful for that. But here's what we wanted to talk about, which is that there's an artist out there who we're not going to name, but he reached out to us on email a couple of times, on Instagram a couple of times, and made it his mission to get in our faces to listen to his new music. And I responded to him after the Instagram messages, which were public, and I emailed him privately, and I said, hey, just going to be honest here, I haven't had a chance to listen to your new music or anyone's new music because we've been dealing with some family stuff, and I hope that you respect our time and what we're, you know, and our schedule. And he responded.
He flipped out. He flipped so far out. He was just like,
in a not nice way.
Yeah, he was like, I don't appreciate your sarcasm.
And here's the thing. Yes, can I be sarcastic in real life or on here? Of course.
Well, I mean, was that sarcastic, actually?
No.
Well, I mean, can I?
No.
Can I be sarcastic?
Okay, now it feels like you're taking his side.
Well, no, now it sounds like I'm Chandler Bing.
But I responded to him.
Could I be any more sarcastic?
I responded to him, and I thought an honest way and a concise way, saying, hey, I haven't listened to your music. You know, we're going through some stuff. You know, thanks for reaching out. Congratulations on your deal and your EP. Mm-hmm. But like, you know, we're dealing with some stuff right now.
Sarcastically.
It was not sarcastic. And he flipped out, came back at me, and then we had discussed not responding.
Well, no. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess we had discussed that. I did respond.
And then you responded.
Yeah.
We decided that we would not give in to his barbs. And then you...
Barbs is an interesting word to put there.
I'm not being sarcastic.
Yeah, it wasn't Nicki Minaj.
It was not. You sent this really nice email saying, like, not taking sides, sort of like clearing the air or whatever, even though I didn't think either one of us was trying to be aggressive about this.
Well, no, it sounded like he was...
It sounded like he was angry.
Yeah, for no reason. And so I said, like, hey, we met once before and that went fine, and that... our mom has been going through what she's been going through, and that we've been very public about it. And then I said that you were absolutely not being condescending, and he knows us enough, at least to say hi to us, you know, when we had met.
Right.
So like, why he would think that you were suddenly being condescending and sarcastic.
No idea.
And then also that, I congratulated him on everything that's been going on. And, it was a nice email, I thought.
No response to that.
No. He responded to me.
He did?
Yeah.
I swear to God, I have no idea.
Oh, yeah. He responded to me.
What'd he say?
That he had no idea about our mom and that he was very sorry and that he wouldn't bother us anymore.
Okay, wait, hold. This is 100% true. I had no idea that he responded to you.
Yeah.
You did not tell me this. I thought he just decided not to respond to either one of us.
No.
So what we're going to take out of this is...
Well, no, the thing that you take out of it is that he was very upset about us not listening to his music, but he doesn't listen to our podcast. So, like, what does it even matter?
Right.
Like, why flip out over it?
We did not listen to his music.
Yeah.
But he doesn't listen to our podcast.
Yeah.
What is any of this?
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing that I'm always confused about when people were, some girl who didn't add us on Twitter. Like, I know I need to, like, stop searching my name on Twitter and stuff, but she was just like, man, like, It's the Real, like, takes themselves, like, so seriously or whatever.
I didn't see this either.
But this was a while ago.
Okay.
But it's like...
Wait. So we're sarcastic and we take ourselves too seriously. Gotcha. Okay, go on.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Chandler Bing.
Right.
Shouts to Friends.
Man, this is a lot of Friends talk.
Yeah.
Although, total side note, you showed me a video last night of the Friends intro, the theme song, the graphics, the whole thing done to Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm. Well, Donald Trump in the Friends theme.
As in Trump has no friends.
It was so good.
Really, 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 really funny.
Shouts to Seinfeld 2000.
Yeah. So anyway, so this girl mentions this on Twitter.
Yeah, but she was just like, they take themselves so seriously.
So what's the deal?
Eric, you're getting really defensive right now.
Can't we just be ourselves?
Is that sarcastic?
No, I swear to God, I am just...
Could I be any more myself?
I am just being honest here.
Mm-hmm.
And then you said initially, you're like, yo, you don't need to apologize for not listening to someone's music. And I don't know if I'm like turning off all the people now who are just like, well, I'm going to get my music to It's the Real. And this is beyond the fact that like, what can we do for any of you guys?
Right.
But just being honest right now, we can't.
We can't do anything for people?
We can't do anything for anybody. We can barely do things for ourselves.
That's true.
I'm just trying
That's the most honest thing that anyone has ever said on this podcast. We can barely do things for ourselves.
Anyway,
on the podcast today.
Who's on the podcast today?
Tru Life.
All right. So this, I don't know if we said this on the podcast or not, but this was the quickest yes we have ever said when a publicist has come to us with a guest. Tru Life.
Like, it was almost embarrassing how quickly I responded to the publicist. Or actually, you know what's even more embarrassing?
What's that?
That I told you we can't respond too quickly or else we're going to look so crazy. So we waited for 20 minutes.
Tru Life is someone who, beyond the fact that, yes, he has a fascinating life story, he was just someone who we loved his music and we loved his come up and we loved the fact that he was out here in these New York streets doing all these DVDs, and this blog era rap stuff was a big part of our coming up. So to hear his story, it's not like he's doing a huge press run. It's not like he's on all the other podcasts. We wanted to hear his story, and we thought that we could do a really great episode. And guess what?
We did.
This one is a stellar episode. I hope everyone listens to this and takes a lot out of it, because when it comes to real humans, like people who have been through real shit, this is right up there with the Mano episode, which we hold, at the very top of the ladder. Tru Life, man, has lived a lot of life. He grew up on the Lower East Side. He made a name for himself doing real shit and got signed to Jay-Z after co-signs from Snoop Dogg and Interscope Records and Ving Rhames. And he signs to Jay-Z, he signs to Roc La Familia through Def Jam, and really, the sort of sky was the limit for him. He got caught up in a situation. He went to jail facing life for a crime he did not commit, and then had to sit behind bars for 8 years.
While his kids grew up.
Life moved on.
He explains his jail sentence in the most harrowing and craziest terms. Like
and
I don't
real
know.
terms. You know, this is it's just amazing that he is mind, body, and soul as complete as he is after dealing with that stuff.
Yeah, like he's somebody who, you know, is obviously still going through some things, but like.
But I'm so glad that he was able to give us that honest truth here. Like he didn't hold anything back. He was game for any questions, and what results is, I think, a perfect picture of somebody who was flawed, somebody who had a lot taken from him, and somebody who came out of it a better person amazingly, and is back doing what he loves, which is making music. And you guys should respect him for so much, but his honesty is number one. So shout out to Tru Life and his whole team over there at Empire and Free Bands and execs and all of them. So shout out to all of them.
And obviously, we always love to give some recommendations of other episodes that we've done of our podcast. If you like this one, if you like the Tru Life episode, you will absolutely love episode number 42, as we said, with Mano.
Shout out to Mano, one of our great friends in this business. The realest dude out there. We've worked with him in sketches, on music. We're friends in real life. But to hear his whole story is unforgettable. Please do yourself a favor and listen to that episode with our friend Mano.
Episode number 114 with DJ K-Slay.
Shout out to K-Slay, East Harlem, El Barrio.
El Barrio.
El Barrio.
Yeah. Barrio.
Yeah, okay. So shout out to our guy K-Slay, one of the most exciting episodes that we've ever dealt with because he has seen it all. He was there at the very beginning of hip hop. He has stayed relevant throughout and is one of the greatest storytellers and just funniest guys that we've ever had up here. Shout out to DJ K-Slay.
How about number 67, Dave East?
Shout out to Dave East, also from the East Side. This was right before Dave signed with Def Jam. He had a hell of a story in terms of his come up, moving from the DMV area up here, getting signed to Nas,
playing against Kevin Durant.
Basketball stuff, dealing drugs, rapping, and coming out on top and getting that excellent deal over at Def Jam. Shout out to Dave East for coming over here and telling a great story.
Can I just do one more, actually?
Sure.
Episode number 24 with Taxstone.
Shout out to Taxstone. Keep your head up, Tax. This was one of those episodes that meant a lot to us because Tax didn't have to do this. Tax was on top of the podcast world. He and John Mena reached out to us and wanted to sit down with us so that Tax could be on the other side of the microphone and tell how he made it to one of the most, not just most important voices behind the microphone, but one of the most important A&Rs out there who put so many people on, figured out his own lane, his own system, and made stars from people, you know, and then obviously Tax has gone through a bunch of stuff since then, and we're just so grateful to have heard his story here at such an important time for him and for us, and once again, keep your head up, Tax.
Also, if you'd like to write to Tax, you can write at MDC Brooklyn Metropolitan Detention Center, P.O. Box 329002, Brooklyn, New York 11232. Address it to Daryl Campbell. White envelopes only.
Jeff, when do you want to get into this episode?
Right now.
Yo, what up? It's Eric, a.k.a. Lincoln Bio, a.k.a. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yo, what up? It's Jeff, a.k.a. Fuck With The Vision, a.k.a. Squinting.
I don't know how to say my name that cool. They top me, guys. My name is just Tru Life.
Yeah, this is your third favorite podcast, The Waste of Time with It's The Real.
Yo, Tru Life, what's happening?
Just in the cut, man. What's up?
Yo, listen, we've had so many people who you have meant a lot to. We had Sickamore up here. We had Cipha Sounds up here. We had Green Lantern.
Wow.
You mean a lot to us because we grew up in that blog era. Like, mixtapes were everything to us. I don't think anybody had a better intro than you had when Jay was on there and he was saying stuff like, yeah. No, you know, and he was just like, he's like, if someone told you that Hove got hit in the head by a bottle, either someone's lying to him or he's lying to you. Allow me to introduce you to Tru Life. Like,
Yes, sir.
there's
Yes,
nothing
sir.
better than that.
Yes, sir. Nah, that was classic. That was definitely epic.
Or if there
right
is,
there.
tell us what it is, you know.
Nah,
what's
that was
better?
definitely, I can't, that's kind of hard to top right there as
Yeah.
far as an intro. Yeah, Hove definitely gave me a classic intro with that.
So, okay, let's get right into it. you're from the Lower East Side,
Yeah.
but where exactly are you from?
What you mean, like origin wise? I'm
Yeah,
I'm Puerto Rican.
Well,
so,
no, we know that. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like,
Puerto
where in
I
the
know
Lower
it's always
East Side?
confusing when like white people ask like where you're from.
Yeah, I'm from the Lower East Side. I grew up in the Lower East Side, but I reside in Jersey, man. So
Right on.
shout out to Jersey. I love Jersey.
But what was growing up on the Lower East Side like? Because it's not like it is now.
Yeah, it's
now
totally
it's a lot of
different.
like, you know,
Nah, it's different.
gentrified.
Yeah,
It's
people
and-
waiting in
way-
front of
it's way
Supreme.
different.
yeah,
way
A
different.
Life and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's way different. The only thing ghetto down there now is the projects that's pretty much left. And as
Yeah.
soon as they knock those down, it'll probably, it's pretty much gone. But, growing up down there, I had my good times, I had my bad times. And,
Yeah.
it was like growing up in every other hood. It was a lot of chaos.
Were you in a big family?
I got two brothers, but, I grew up in a neighborhood where we were like family, all my, homeboys and stuff like that. It was like I had 100 brothers. So,
Yeah.
you know,
You go to public school?
yeah.
Yeah. What was that
Yeah.
like?
School was cool. I never thought, I'd be honest with you, I never really thought I was like a school kind of guy until I went to prison. And when I went to prison, I never thought I was smart enough like to do school just because of the type of situation that I grew up under. You know what I'm saying? The circumstances that I grew up under. And, I didn't live a regular life. I say I'm Brenda's baby. I'm the baby when they say, I say it as a metaphor, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they be like, oh, Tru Life's crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm Brenda's baby. Like, if you looked at my life and then you will understand how I was able to make certain mistakes that I made in my life and, you know what I'm saying, I had to live with. But, it was just because of the circumstances that I grew up under. And those same circumstances didn't make me feel like I was smart enough to do school. And, as an adult now, when I was in prison and I was like, wow, I got time, all this time on my hands, I can either work out and be in the yard and come home looking all brolic and diesel, or I can do something that's going to leave with me and stay with me for the rest of my life and accomplish something to show my kids and show myself and prove to myself that anything you put your mind to, you can do. So I went and got a GED while I was in there. Then I paid for myself to go to school, and I got 2 different college degrees.
Amazing.
So, yeah, but before that,
One
as
in
a kid,
business and one in biblical
studies.
Yeah.
Yes. But, as a kid, I just never thought school was for me, pretty much.
So does that mean that you just like would cut school? Does that mean you
Just
would
kind
sleep
of
in
gave up on
class?
school pretty early. Like, I just felt like it wasn't for me. Like, my circumstances that I was, when you're growing up in crack houses and things of that nature, you know what I'm saying? When you're babysitted by, heroin dealers and people are shooting up in the bathroom and you're not, living a normal life. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was normal to me then.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, did you realize?
No, I didn't realize it then. You know what I'm saying? When I didn't understand a lot of things. My dream when I was a kid, I wanted to go to Disney World. I wanted my family to take me to Disney World. And, all I knew was my little project buildings where I lived at. Like, I remember the first time I went to Jersey, I thought Jersey was like all rich white people. Then I went there and went to Newark and was like, what the fuck? What's this? You know what I'm saying? It was like, that's just how ignorant I kind of was just because of how I grew up.
Yeah.
That's all I knew was just my projects and all I knew was my situation. Like, I didn't have money to travel anywhere. We were really poor and, you know what I'm saying? Grew up going on cheese lines to go eat and, mom scrambling an egg with some rice to get through and sharing it with my brothers and sharing pants with my brothers and wearing no name brand sneakers. And, I just didn't live a normal life that normal kids should have to live. You know what I'm saying? And my circumstances, I didn't realize that they wasn't normal until I got to see what life was really about. And music kind of helped me a lot with that. And also a woman, when I met my wife, the mother of my 2 children, she's the one who brought me out to Jersey and just showed me a different lifestyle and a different way of living than I knew of what life was for me.
So if you took time as a middle schooler, as like maybe your early high school years to like dream outside of like the Lower East Side, was there a career that you thought like, if I get out, maybe I could do that?
Or was it even like, were you able to even visualize that?
No, it was more just me wanting to accomplish it because I felt like, once I started to do certain things as I grew older and I, became successful in the music business and did certain things, I realized that anything you put your mind to, you can accomplish and you can do. So I said, even though, circumstances as a child made me believe that I couldn't do this, I think if I put my mind to this right now, I'll be able to accomplish this. So once I did that, I was like, okay, now I need to go further. Now I want to get my master's. I just don't have the time, to go to school and study business and all that because of the music business and, how much time this takes to develop artists that I'm developing, manage careers, plus be an artist myself. So I just don't have the time. But in a second, once I get the time, I would like to go back to get my master's and just do it just cause,
When you're in those early teen years and you can't see beyond the Lower East Side,
Yeah.
was there a thought to yourself like, I can better myself. I can become the best person that I can be while I'm here.
Definitely. I just, your whole life is flashing in front of your face, and all you do is have time to think. There's nothing but you and your thoughts when you're in a cell. Most of the 24 hours that go by in a day, you're just there in a cell by yourself with your thoughts. So all I could do is think. And, I thought about the mistakes that I made in my life. I thought about, just everything, my whole, just certain things. I didn't realize how many things psychologically took effect on my life without me really even knowing, like, you know what I mean? Like how much baggage I was probably even carrying in my life until I went to prison. I started thinking about, my father, my mother, this, that, and, just certain things. And it just made me realize a lot that I had going on. And I just knew that there was a lot of forgiving that I had to do too. I had to forgive a lot of people. I had to learn to forgive. And I was kind of stubborn. So I really wasn't the most forgiving person. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it took, like, I had to kind of learn. But one thing I learned is when I looked in that mirror and I knew I wanted God to forgive me for certain things that I've done in my life. And not so much the crime that I was locked up for, because I didn't commit that crime. Mm-hmm. But I just felt like if I want God to forgive me, I got to learn to forgive others. So at that moment is when I knew I had to learn to forgive. And sometimes I felt like certain situations that I've gone through in my life, I knew that the people didn't deserve me to forgive them probably, right? But it wasn't fair to myself to carry all this hate and all this anger. And I felt how heavy it was and how drowned my spirit was and how emotionally, like, it's took an effect to me that I felt like I deserved to forgive them, because the minute I knew I would forgive them is the minute I was going to start feeling better and I would start living and live and just be free again. So I wasn't only locked up in prison, I was always locked up in my mind. That's why I got this thing on my arms that say ghetto inmates. The ghetto, people be like, ghetto inmates, like, you wrote an inmate on your arm? No, I'm not an inmate. I've never been an inmate. This was my first time going to jail, but I've been in jail my whole life.
You never had a chance to be a child.
No, most people I know been in jail their whole life, in their mind. See, the ghetto's just not a place. It's a mentality. You could take a kid out the ghetto and then just put him in Beverly Hills, but he still may be in prison in his mind and is accustomed to living a certain kind of lifestyle and living by certain rules that not necessarily society lives by. You understand what I'm saying? But it's just where we live and how we grew up and the circumstances we grew up under. We grew up living under these crazy rules that probably make no sense to the rest of the world.
We'll talk about, like, when you, and we're jumping ahead by a lot, but like when you do find success in a sort of like, you're making money and your name is out there, your face is out there, you're living this life and you're trying to get through day to day. We wouldn't understand, the box that you were in. Mm-hmm. And then meanwhile, you are sort of putting together these math problems in your head of like how people are supposed to act, how you're supposed to be.
Well, I really didn't recognize all of that. I ain't gonna say smart enough to recognize it. I was just, living so fast with the music, just day by day, from running around with Jay-Z to here to there to just so much going on that until I went to prison is when my whole world just slowed down and gave me that time to really think and analyze. Before then, I really wasn't so much dwelling on my life. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't realizing that I had so much baggage. So even while I was having success and I was running around with Jay-Z and doing this and doing that, I still didn't realize that I had all of this baggage. I thought it was kind of normal to have gone through what I gone through as a child, which it really wasn't. Nothing I went through as a child was normal.
Did you talk to anybody in prison, or was this all like stuff that you're just like holding on to yourself?
No, I didn't. It was like I kind of just spoke to myself. It's crazy, right? Because I just recently saw a psychiatrist, and when I was talking to him, he was like, no disrespect, man, but he was like, wow, this shit is entertaining. And he was like, I don't mean it in a disrespectful way, but he was like, I'm trying to say it with all due respect, but he's like, just wow. He's like, I interview mobs, you know what I'm saying? I sit here with mobsters who've been in the mafia and, probably done 100 hits and this, that, and third, and their story is not as appealing as yours. And it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of weird, bro.
So how does music enter your life as a teenager?
Music, I started kind of late, you know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like since a kid. It was more like my brother was rapping before me and all my friends were rapping before me and they were better than me. They were all good. I really wasn't that good, to be honest.
Yeah, you said that recently.
Yeah, because it's just the truth, to be honest with you. I feel like even when I did the record with Prodigy, I wasn't ready to do a record with like a lyricist like Prodigy, like on that level as far as lyrically. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a great MC. And then I was on there with, him and Cool G Rap, who's, you know, these are icons and legends in the game. And I feel like I did that record with them really, really early, and I really wasn't ready. Like, I feel like I'm one of those artists that are weird, that most artists come in at their prime, and then their stuff starts to decline and get bad. And you're like, oh, he fell off. Me, I feel like I didn't come in at my best. And right now, I'm just getting better and better as we go along, because I feel like I mastered the craft, and I was lucky enough to be in a studio with Snoop Dogg, be in a studio with Jay-Z, be in a studio with Bone Thugs and Harmony, Busy Bone in his prime, and watch Busy Bone do 9 records and have all 9 records come out and be hits all over the radio and win Grammys off of these records. And I just learned the craft and study, because when I first used to write, I wouldn't think about how I was going to say what I was going to say. I would just think about what I wanted to say, but I would never think about how I wanted to express it, meaning the style, meaning the delivery, you know, meaning my cadence, how I wanted my voice to sound. My voice is an instrument. So I come from the era where it was like kind of Wu-Tang, and it was just raw. Mistakes, and it was just grimy, and it was crazy. Not to say that my stuff was horrible, even though to me, I look back and it kind of was. But at that time, it was the era where you could kind of get away with that, because hip-hop was so raw, where there'd be so many mistakes in the Wu-Tang stuff, but, you know, where the ad-libs ain't perfect, the vocals ain't lined up right, it's not cleaned up the most, it's grimy, it's dirty, but it was genius at the same time.
So do you think it was your attitude and your presence that really sold you?
I think, yes, my charisma, my attitude, my drive, and just who I was kind of got me over the hump and always got me through the doors. And, you know, now I just want to get to the point where I want to show people how talented I am, because they don't realize, because a lot of the drama when I got in the door and started to become successful, a lot of it was always drama. So the drama was so big, it kind of overshadowed everything else, where we never really got a chance to get to the music. It was always drama either knocking me down. The drama helped me, which I didn't want to use it like these kids are using now for clout chasing and doing the stuff that they're doing. But it did help me in some areas where it got my name out there to get, you know, Jay-Z to know me, Ving Rhames to know me, this one to know me, you know, walk down the streets and couldn't walk through any ghetto without a kid recognizing me or running up on me. But at the same time, it affected my career, where it stopped me from getting in certain doors, lost record deals, and pushed me back. And, you know, oh, he's crazy. It's like, you know, we love the industry loves the gangster image, but it doesn't love the gangster. You understand? So I had to learn the two. And I didn't really know coming in, you know, from the Lower East Side. Not many rappers ever came out from the Lower East Side. Yeah. Being Puerto Rican, not many Puerto Rican rappers in the game. So, you know, all these thoughts were in my head when I made a lot of these mistakes, and I had the chip on my shoulder with the whole, you know, Mobb Deep situation. I don't really want to get into that too much. But, you know, when I did that crazy situation and ran in the studio with the guns, when they did what they did, you know, after me reaching out, you know, 1,000,000 times and stuff like that, it was because I felt like I was confused of watching the game and seeing rappers and thinking that this shit was real, and that these rappers are saying certain things, and we were living by it in the hood, and we were living every day, living, you know, running around with guns on us, drugs on us, selling drugs, and we were living what they were rapping about. So when we would watch them, we would think it was really real. And then I got in the game and I realized it's not. It's entertainment. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to Biggie Smalls, but I don't think Biggie was a gangster. I don't really know him personally, but people love Biggie because I think he was a great lyricist and he was a great musician around the world. And I think his music is loved and people appreciate his music. But I think this is the only genre where it's like the biggest contradiction in the world, because it's like they want you to be a gangster, where they kind of push. We're like, oh, he's not that. He doesn't live his lyrics. Like, do we really expect Biggie Smalls to live his lyrics and be a gangster?
So was that more frustrating, disappointing, or just eye-opening to find that out?
No, I think it just gave me more knowledge of knowing how to move, because what I see is, right, they'll disrespect an artist like Rick Ross and be like, oh, Rick Ross was a correctional officer, XYZ. And then it'd be an artist like me, right? So they're trying to discredit Rick Ross because you're saying he's not living it, he's not gangster enough, because you're not saying his music ain't good, because his music is incredible. So now you go to an artist like me and you'd be like, oh, Tru Life is the biggest dummy in the world. He's what a moron. Look at this stupid idiot. He threw his life away. And, you know, you have all the hip-hop publications rip me apart and be like, he threw his life away. The kid had a promising career. He was with Jay-Z. Now look at him, stupid asshole. He's over there locked up in Rikers Island fighting for his life. He threw his life away. So it's a double-edged sword. I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Right.
If you're a gangster in hip-hop, it don't work. I learned that firsthand. If you're not a gangster in hip-hop, they're going to try to rip you apart. Other artists are going to try to discredit you. He's not this. He's not that. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. So my advice to any other artist out there is do your thing and don't worry about anything else, because it really doesn't matter. You know, it only matters if you let it matter to you, because they're going to talk about you regardless.
I was just going to say that if you're not a gangster, then you start a podcast. That's what you do.
No, I think you can rap too. I think you just got to not pay attention to it, is what I'm saying, is because there's going to be rappers, there's going to be, blogs or whatever. They're going to, there's going to be people out here that's just going to look for their angle to attack you and to pull you down. This is the only art, form of music that I know that does this, where we rip people apart because they're not this or they're not that. Like, we expect people to be like, we wanted, Jay-Z to be Pablo Escobar then, I guess, because he rapped about drugs and did all type of stuff, like, but come on, let's be real. Jay-Z's not that. So I had to really learn and just figure it out. And I learned it now and I understand it. So now I'm just a square from Delaware, just making music, baby. Living my life,
So who was the first person to really pay attention to what you were doing?
That's kind of hard, but the one person I have to give the big credit to that I feel like got me over the hump was Snoop Dogg. Snoop came and embraced me early in my career, brought me out to the Apollo, and, we tore down the Apollo, and from there I was able to really get things moving. And
what year is this?
We did a couple records. It was right when I signed before I signed the Rockefeller deal. And then after that, I ended up signing the Rockefeller because of me having that affiliation with Snoop Dogg and having these records and having this little bit of buzz around me. So he helped me out tremendously. And I just felt at the time it was important for me to be signed to a New York label. So I signed with Jay-Z, but I got Snoop Dogg to executive produce my album, so I still wanted to be loyal to Snoop Dogg. Not that I didn't want to sign to him. He was an icon. He's a legend. I just felt like I wanted to do something for New York at that time.
Were you at Interscope before that?
As a kid. That was my very first record deal as a kid. And it's weird, and I don't want to give away too much of my story because my story's so long, so complicated, and it literally is a movie. But that first record deal is kind of what led to me going to prison many years later, because I was signed in a record deal with an artist, and that artist, ended up having a relationship, well, not a relationship, but a situation where he slept with my brother's girl, and that came back to haunt me many years later. So we ended up losing our record deal over that, and many years later down the line, it just built up an animosity between me and, my neighborhood and his neighborhood, and we were from the same neighborhood but different sections, and it just led to an ongoing stupidity thing, man. It just kind of followed, and I couldn't really prevent it. The more famous I got, the more people in my neighborhood or that neighborhood were more jealous that, it would be like, oh, you from the Lower East Side or you from Tru Life's hood? So it became Tru Life. When you say the Lower East Side, it became Tru Life. That's how you spelled Lower East Side, Tru Life. And that created jealousy and envy and hate, and then that led to people wanting to try to rob people and, trying to discredit us and, such and such and such, and me going to prison many years later. But the story is so much more complicated and so much, man. I never had a dull moment in my life. It's literally, sometimes I feel like there's angels eating popcorn looking down at me, like literally rooting for me, and I'm like just like entertainment form, I guess. It feels like I'm literally a movie.
Yeah. Do you remember the first time that you walked down the street and someone was like, oh shit, Tru Life?
That was after the Beef DVD. Like, once the Beef DVD came out, all of that started to happen. Where I couldn't really walk down the street, and it wasn't like, I wasn't regular no more. It was like, Allen Iverson, like just everybody. They would just run down on me because the DVD era was just so big, and that was like the thing that cracked the gate for it all. And a lot of the sports players, like, before they were, go out there and play basketball or whatever game they were going to play, a lot of them would, carry their little portable DVD players, and they would watch these things in the back of the locker room or on planes or whatever. And I just started to become very popular behind that in the industry, pretty much.
So nowadays, there's a lot of thought that gets put into, like, kids are like, okay, cool, I got my own SoundCloud page, I got my own Instagram, this is how I'm going to put my music out there.
Yeah.
When you were just doing mixtapes, smack DVDs, all of that, was there a thought that you're like, okay, cool, I'm going to distribute my music in this way, and I'm going to get my name out in this way, or did they just come to you?
No, I've kind of gone through a lot of different eras and survived a lot of little different eras. So there was always different ways, but I always did things my own way. I always went against the grain and never like tried to fit in. But when it was the mixtapes, we would put out mixtapes, and we would just knock on every door and just constantly we would just we were very, very just wasn't trying to take no for an answer. We just kept going and going and going. But then the DVD era just opened up for me visually, and like my personality just by accident would just kind of shine through the DVD. So it went from Beef DVD with QD3, shout out to QD3, to, you know, doing Smack DVDs and Cocaine Cities with, you know, French Montana and all these guys, and me being very big in that whole lane and crack open that whole situation, and it just became a wave. So I kind of created that wave where visually it was just crazy, where my story was kind of being spread around more than the music was. And it was kind of overshadowing, but it was always drama. Somehow I was always getting caught in drama. Not that I wanted to, because I'm the nicest guy in the world. Like, I see a guy, I don't know you, I say, what's up? Hey, how you doing? Respect, man, peace. Those are the first words that come out of my mouth, always peaceful words. Like, I got a peaceful aura. But, you know, I do understand how a lot of the image that I had out there, because of the drama I had going on and what I was portraying, because I was always putting things out. Not that I was trying to portray that, but when you're in a battle with somebody, it's not like I'm going to be up there, you know, hey, I'm the nicest guy in the world. No, it was just like I wasn't doing videos. My videos were like attacking other people because I was in defense mode. And it's like, if a guy puts out one song on you, you got to be prepared to put out 10. So if he puts out one diss video, I'm going to put out 50. So it was like so much of it, and we were just so caught in the element, and I was so big and so good at it that everybody was always coming to me. So it was like being flooded. That just was what was being flooded, was the DVDs of all the negativity. So now you just look at me like a negative kid, and you don't really get to hear my story because there's no one elaborating with me and sitting down and really trying to hear my story. They're just trying to hear me talk about Jim Jones, me talk about Mobb Deep, me just do something crazy, maybe have my boy pull out a gun so that, you know, the DVD could sell. So it wasn't about like, let's show who Tru Life really is, that he's a nice guy, let's show who he is. But
Or that you can rap.
Or that I can even rap. It was just more based on that. So,
by the way, we don't need anybody pulling out guns because this is an audio only thing. But we can have like a
I don't
reaction.
carry guns, man. I don't carry guns. Almost weird, right? Because when I used to carry guns, everywhere I would go, I would get into an incident. Like literally, everywhere I would go. It wouldn't matter. Like, I would go to a record company and I would have the gun on me, and I would see an enemy or somebody who, you know, who had beef with one of my homeboys. Anywhere, it would just happen, because when you're carrying something so negative on you, because that gun is something negative, so it brings a certain kind of energy, and it's like laws of nature. Like, negative attracts negative. It just comes. So now that I don't carry guns and I don't really, like, I walk around with a different type of aura. Like, I got a different kind of protection protecting me now. Before, I used to have to wear bulletproof vests. I'd have came in with a gun on me and a bulletproof vest and 50 goons outside, or at least 3, and all 3 of them would have had a gun on them, and we'd have had a bulletproof vest on, because it was really real. I was really living that life, you know? Now I come in here with, you know, real guys who really want to help me, and we just put God first, and we come in here with that God aura, and we got angels around us. Now I come in here with angels. Angels just walked in here with us. So you didn't see an army and maybe 3 of us, but it's 3,000 angels surrounding us right now.
The energy that you put out comes
so
out.
I can see an enemy outside, and nothing's gonna happen, just because that's how God got me. Like, when God got you, man, he got you, man. Like, I've walked into prisons where they'd be like, yo, watch it. When you walk in there, they're going to kill you. And I walk in there like no gun, no nothing. And it didn't happen. Nobody killed me. Nobody harmed me. Nobody hurt me. Not because I was the toughest guy, just because God didn't allow them to. That's what I feel. God didn't allow them to. He just made them see something in me. He put something in them in that moment where it just didn't happen. You know, it just didn't happen.
Ving Rhames found you through the
Beef
DVD.
Yeah.
What is your friendship like with him?
He's like a father figure to me, man. He just hit me the other day. Like, he gets mad that I don't call him. And I just feel like, you know, I'm the type of person where, you know, the Muslims, when I was locked up, they used to call me Afif. Afif means the one who gives, but when in need, never asks. Like, you know, never goes and like asks people to help him. You know what I'm saying? Even when he's in need. But he's always had to take his shirt off his back and give it to the whoever, you know what I'm saying, to do whatever. So I feel like Ving Rhames has helped me in my life already a lot. Like, there was times in my life before I got the deal with Jay-Z, you know, he had called my house and he was like, you know, literally he had told me, like, I don't go to church and give back 10% of my money or 15% of my money, whatever it is, in tithes. Like, I like to give it to the people. Like, I give it to people hands on. He was like, give me a number, what you need. Like, I'm like, give me a number. I'm like, bro, I'm good. I'm like, I don't need nothing. Meanwhile, I'm being dead serious. This is a true story.
Yeah.
My rent wasn't paid. Like, for literally, I was about to get evicted. Like, my rent was literally not paid. I was about to get evicted out of my apartment. I was blackballed out the game. This was before the DVD drop of the Beef DVD. And the Mobb Deep situation already happened. I was blackballed. Nobody wanted to mess with me. And he called me up. And he pretty much told me, like, you know, what I needed money-wise, that he wanted to give me money. And I wasn't signed to him. He wasn't trying to manage me. He wasn't trying to do anything. He just wanted to literally give me money. And I couldn't understand it. And I was like, nah, bro. I said, God bless your heart. But I'm not going to take it. I can't do it. I said, thank you, though, bro. Because I'm stubborn like that. So he asked me for my address and act like he was going to send me a movie or what I mean, something like to send him a song for a movie, and we were going to do something. And he asked me for my address. I gave it to him. And one day I went to the mail. I opened it up, and there was a check there from Ving Rhames.
Holy shit.
You know, so I was like, wow, I could not really believe it. I was like in shock. I literally cried.
He sounds like an angel.
No, he is. So, you know, he gave me the money, and I called him up, and I was like, wow, I really didn't want to take it. He said, nah, you must take it. So I said, this is what we'll do then. I said, as soon as I get on my feet and I get a record deal, I'm going to give it back to you, and I'm going to give you a little interest on top. I'm going to give you the money back. So I had called him, and he was like, no way. What he had told me was, he said, no, what I want you to do is when you get in position, because one day you will, and I know you will, and when you get in that position, when you can help somebody, I want you to help them. No strings attached, the same way that I helped you. That's all I want you to do is give back and help somebody else when the time comes and you're in position to do that. So I lived my life moving from that day forward the same way. So I do things, I do it from the heart. I don't do it looking for anything. You know, if I can help somebody, I help them. But yes, he is an angel. So I remember calling, and I called after I got the deal with Jay, and I called him up, and I was like, man, I'm so proud of you, bro. I called up to tell him that I got the deal, and I was like, yo, I got your check, man. I actually got a little interest on that for you. He was like, nah, I don't want that. You know what I'm saying? He didn't want to take the money at all, and I tried to give it back to him, and he didn't take it. So that's our relationship, man. He's just been like a father figure to me, and I don't really call him much because I feel like I never want to call him to ask him for anything. Like, I want to call him when I feel like I'm where I need to be, and I'm like, bro, I did it. Look, I did it. And the person that you believed in and the person you invested your time into is, you know, made it happen.
Has he also had like tough conversations with you? Because like as a father figure,
he talks to me about all type of things. Like if he don't like certain things I'm doing with my image or certain things I'm saying or whatever, he'll call me up and he'll tell me, yo, man, I seen this thing on YouTube or XYZ or, you know, what's going on, or he'll call me up. But for the most part, you know, I've been doing the right thing, and he knows that I've been doing the right thing. And, you know, we don't really have too much of that. He just knows the kind of individual I am. He knows that my heart is really pure. So, it's just more him just calling. He always just calls to check in on me. He's be like, what's up, man? Well, you know, when's the album coming out? Or, you know, things like that, man. He's just been a great, great guy, man. He's not like most people in this game that I've seen him help so many different people and, you know, no strings attached. Not like he's trying to get something out of them and nothing. He'll just do it just to do it.
Where did you start recording? Like when you were like just at the beginning of your career?
If I told you that, you wouldn't even believe me. One of my first songs, like pretty much when I really started to make music, was in New Kids on the Block's house.
What?
Yes. I never really told nobody that neither. Like that was in Marky Mark, you know, Mark Wahlberg, the famous Mark Wahlberg. Yep. Yes, I know him as Marky Mark. Yes, in his house in Boston, and him and his brother Donnie. Shout out to Donnie. You know, my boy Fat Cat from my neighborhood, who inspired me to get into music, was a famous producer, and he's kind of like influenced us to do music because, you know, he would bring a lot of rappers and different people. And Donnie once even actually like lived in the projects with us pretty much in my boy's house. While he was already famous and everything, he stood down there super humble and he used to just stay in the house and have a room in my boy's apartment in the projects. You know, while he was filming like one of these big, I don't know exactly what movie it was, what show it was, but he was filming in New York. He had to stay here. Instead of getting a hotel, he stood in projects in my boy's house.
Whoa. Were you just like, why?
Nah, why? I just know he's humble, you know, humble. Humble people do humble things, you know, don't need the most. They don't got to do the extra things.
So what was the first?
In his house, he had a huge studio in his house, like a big SSL, like, you know, they used to be fans from overseas, like outside, like literally, like just outside in front of his house, going crazy, just trying to get a peek at him. It was different kind of, that's when I started to learn about groupies, different levels. There was different levels, the different levels of groupies.
So then what are the meetings like when record companies start to take interest? Because Jay wasn't the first, was he?
No, like I said, Snoop was the first. So Snoop brought, I think it was Geffen. He brought Geffen over to the studio. And He played some records because me and Snoop went into the studio immediately, did a bunch of records. They were amazing. And then I had a couple records that I had. And then, that me and Sickamore were actually doing in the street that we just had got started to do because I stopped rapping when I had got blackballed and I kind of gave up until Sickamore kind of heard the mixtape. Before it was a mixtape, he heard the New York record, and he kind of helped me put the mixtape together and like just gave me the confidence to do it again. He was like, bro, you have to rap. There's no way that you can't rap and you're sitting on all this music. You got too much star quality. The music is too strong. He couldn't believe he heard those records. And then me and Sick just started to run around and grind again. And that's when the whole Snoop Dogg thing happened. And Snoop helped me get it to the other level where labels started looking for me. And then Green Lantern, actually, I became friends with Green Lantern. And Green Lantern brought me to Jay-Z. Because I had 7 deals at the
Green just texted, by the way. Yeah,
that's what's up.
Yeah.
That's the homie. So I had 7 deals at the table, and Green had called me. He was like, what you gonna do? And I was like, I said, it's crazy. The only person I haven't met with yet is Jay-Z. And I said, I got all these other labels trying to sign me, but I said, before I take anything, I said, I don't know why. I feel something in my heart that I feel like I want to sit with Jay since he's such a big New York artist, and I feel like I could help bring something to the movement. So he was like, I could do that, and I was like, shit, I was like, so if you can make it happen, make it happen. So he said, hold on, give me 1 second. I'm going to call him right now. And he called him, and that was it. He called him, and he was like, yo, Jay, you got to meet with this guy. Like, right now, this kid got 7 deals on the table. He's like, I'm about to leave. He's like, Jay, you got to meet with this guy. I'm telling you. He was like that? He was like that. He was like, all right, bring him to the office. And I went up to the office, and Jay didn't let me leave his office pretty much. We did the deal in 1 day. First time that's ever happened. Like, usually a record deal may take a month. Going back and forth with attorneys. You may know you got the deal, but they're doing the paperwork back and forth. My attorney at the time was Eminem's attorney, Theo Settlemeyer.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And me and Theo were going back and forth from in Jay's office to the bathroom. We're going to the bathroom. Hold on a second. Go in the bathroom, come back. Okay, we'll do this. Okay, go back. Hold on a second. Go back to the bathroom and talk. True, you really want to take that? Or you don't want to do that? You want to bluff them? Say this, say that. We was playing that kind of game.
So what was it like leaving that office with that deal that night?
We didn't, that morning.
Oh, that morning.
That morning, we spent a lot of hours at Def Jam. It was the whole staff. They were just hype, playing my music, going crazy. And Juan was just super excited. Shout out to OG Juan.
Yeah.
That's not even my friend. That's like my brother. He's co-owner at Roc Nation. And I'm super proud of him and everything that he's accomplished in his life. And he's definitely been a true believer and stood by my side even to this day. And rides with me forever,
Roc La Familia.
Yeah, that's forever.
And what does Cipha Sounds mean to you?
Cipha Sounds was my A&R, so he started off like I built a relationship with him over there as my A&R. Then he became literally my brother, just like it wasn't even a record thing. It was like we were just family. Cipha even came to see me all the way in Clinton Correctional Facility, which is damn near 7 to 8 hours away, at the borderline of Canada, all the way out. When my own friends my own family I grew up with me, like, didn't come to see me. He would take trips all the time, make sure I was good. So there's no words to describe as far as Cipha Sounds. Like, that's literally like my brother.
How'd you meet T.I.?
T.I., my manager, who's Jilly Iyer, she's part of the camp, along with the execs and my boys right here. Jilly Iyer started off with me. I met her some years back, and she started off with me before she started with T.I. She was co-managing Jennifer Lopez, and then after Jennifer Lopez she did when I was locked up, and then after Jennifer Lopez, she went over and started managing T.I. So she introduced me to Tip when I came home, and we kind of built that relationship. He came to the studio, just gave me advice, and was just telling me how much music changed, and he was like, don't be scared to kind of like change up the flow and, kind of like, not lose who I was. He wasn't telling me, yo, go sell out and try to be a young boy. But he was just like, the old stuff is old and different and may not work right now. And we need to try different types of communication in the studio in the nicest way. He told me if you want to make this happen out here, which you can, and you have an opportunity to play again, really understand and study this game as far as musically of the sound and the bounces and like figure it out where it's you, but you know what I mean? Like, don't be scared to play with the bounces and the flows.
But T.I. usually uses like, 4-syllable words, a lot of like SAT words. So you have to imagine it like that.
So when you were first in that Roc La Familia deal, I know now you say like, all right, I wasn't as good a rapper as I am now. But back then, did you really believe
It wasn't. I mean, even before the Roc La Familia,
Yeah.
you know, even though then I wasn't as good as I am now, neither.
Right.
But I started to learn a little more by the time I got there. You know what I mean? I was a little bit more developed, and then it just kept getting better and better because I started to really learn more of like how important delivery was, not just what you were gonna say.
Yeah.
Like the message is cool, but if you can't capture my ear to make me listen to what you're saying, then I'm not even gonna listen to what you're saying. So the main thing is delivering it in a cool way, the way it sonically sounds right and makes me feel right, that'll get me to now get into understanding your lyrics.
So what's one track that you had back then that you felt like was the one?
No, I have a record that was super serious that was actually on the True York mixtape, but didn't get the notoriety it should have got because the mixtape got more than notoriety. Like me and Rick Ross toured the whole country pretty much. He had Every Day I'm Hustling, he had his album out, and I just had a mixtape out, and we were selling out shows everywhere and killing them everywhere, and I just had the mixtape. But the drama once again was all based around me beefing with Jim Jones and
Right.
Cameron and the whole Dipset. So that was so big that it kind of overshadowed the other music where I had important records on it that were really strong, and it was a record called I Hate Rap that is probably one of my favorite records to this day.
And that's at the tail end of the mixtape.
Yeah. It was called I Hate Rap, where it was very creative. Like it was records like something you would expect from like Nas, Eminem, like real rappers, real artists, Jay-Z, like all real artists hear that record and be like, bro, you bodied that. Like it was one of those, you know, but everybody was so caught up into, yo, you bodied them boys over there. You understand what I'm saying? With the disses and all that, you know, you got to that record, but it was like it just kind of got overshadowed.
I don't want to spend too much time talking about Jim Jones, but I do have to ask, what was his MySpace password?
Oh man, I never hacked his page. He hacked my page. Actually, I don't know if he did it. I gotta ask him that question. He was that good, nigga. I want to hack my girl's Facebook right now, man. I want to hack her Instagram or give me that guy that y'all use because y'all hacked my shit for a little while. They hacked my page and kind of reflipped what I had, like, you know what I'm saying, as the cover, and then like they put it on my page and stuff or whatever. It was cool.
Touring around the country with Rick Ross.
Yeah.
And you're seeing, you know, I'm sure stages you never thought you would touch before. You're seeing crowds you never thought you'd be in front of before.
Well,
what
we
was
were
that
both
like?
kind of new, so it
Yeah.
wasn't like we were on the biggest stages. We were doing clubs. It was club tours,
Yeah.
but it was chaos, be honest with you, everywhere, because it was like when I told you I still had that energy around me, and I had it around me more now. Because why? I'm into a negative situation. I'm beefing with another rapper. So I'm not going to perform a record that's like to make people feel good in the crowd. I'm not going there to perform hit records that I got. I'm going there to perform a record and pull out, you know, chains that belong to other rappers and perform all these records. So I was still running around with this energy. So that energy was a magnet. So everywhere we go, it was, you know,
It was more the name
shootouts.
than
No, it's shootouts, clubs being closed down, and fights and brawls, dudes getting stabbed, dudes getting shot, dudes getting beat up. It was real. I remember, you know, I got this scar right here, and that happened in Chicago, and it was like Jay-Z called me. He was like, man, he said, I knew this shit was going to happen. I just ain't think it was going to happen this fast because it was the first day of the show. And I'm like, bro, what you want me to do? They hit me with a bottle, like cut my face. Like someone hit me with a bottle in my face. There's no way, you know, at that time, I don't even know if they even this time, so I don't want to say no time. Yeah. Nobody's going to cut my face, and I'm just going to be good with that. But the way we reacted was just the way that we knew how to react, which was with violence in a violent way. And, you know, even though we were in Chicago, we pretty much caused a riot. And they were trying to sue Def Jam and sue Jay-Z and sue me. And But, you know, they started it as far as like with what they did.
What was the Lower East Side thinking of you at this point? Was it support?
Of course, I'm loved and hate. I'm loved and hate. You know, in my own, you know, people in my neighborhood, they love me. But then, you know, there's people where I told you, there's people that had their lives lost in my neighborhood. So there's going to be people that, you know, no matter how much I explain my situation of, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I wasn't the cause of this, oh, this person did this person did that. And all of my stuff, if I told you right now, you'll understand because it's not personal for you. But now, if you were the family member of someone who passed away, are you thinking of what your family member may have did or didn't do to someone else to lead to his death? Or are you just going to be bitter and just not care and blame Tru Life, who's the easy scapegoat who you see on TV and you hear the name the most? So even though if it was someone in my entourage, even if it was someone in my family, even if it was someone who did it, you're still going to blame me.
Right.
So there's no way for me to really clean up someone's family feeling some sort of way, someone's close friends that feel some sort of way. They're not going to look at their wrongs. They're going to look at mine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Or not even my wrongs. They're going to look at my family's wrongs, whoever it was. They're just going to blame me, and that's just what's happening right now.
Yeah.
So there's the love and there's the love and hate, you know, and it's crazy because people will love me around the world, and then it's like, you know, I represent my neighborhood. All I ever wanted to do was bring peace to my neighborhood, and all I ever wanted to do was bring opportunity to my neighborhood. The main thing I wanted to do was bring opportunity, bring jobs, and bring help to these people, and to bring them hope. To give them hope and to show them that what I did, if I could do this, they could do this. And if I did this from nothing, then they can do the same. And I brought so many people around me to the well to go drink out of that same water that I'm drinking from. I brought so many people around Jay-Z, Beyonce, you know, Quincy Jones, the biggest guys in the business, like superstars, like next level icons that no one can get next to. I brought them next to all of them. And at the end of the day, it still wasn't enough. I learned like there's no such thing as keeping it real and going back to your neighborhood and keeping it real. I thought I couldn't be a sellout. I thought I had to be this. It's never enough. It's like you give somebody $100, he's mad you didn't give him 1,000. You give somebody 1,000, he's mad you didn't give him 100,000. You know, you go and buy yourself a car, he's mad you didn't buy him that car first. You might not have the money yet to buy 2 cars. You may be just leasing this car. It's just, you know, half of this shit is perception. You know, perception is bigger than reality in this game. So it kind of helps you create enemies along the way too of your own friends, your own circle. Because where we come from is poverty. Mm-hmm. Everyone's poor. Where we come from is people will kill you. A dude will offer you $5,000 to go kill his enemy, and you may go and take it. You understand what I'm saying? So the mentality is so backwards and it's so retarded that, you know, for them to see me on TV or for them to see me in a car is like, it creates hate when they're not in that car. They feel like they're supposed to be in that car first. They feel like, oh, he's on a billboard with Jay-Z. It just your own people around you can't even share like, hey, I gotta, you know, Fat Joe just called me to do a record, or Johnny Depp just called me to be in a movie. You know, you might be excited and you go to share that, and it's like they don't know how to handle that because they're going back to these crazy circumstances, and whether they want to or not, they end up hating you, and they end up hating on you. And it's like I had the people nearest near me I guess kind of hating on me, and I had to learn that as I went along. It was just, the whole thing was just bad.
That's almost an impossible situation, by the way, to have people try to understand. It's not like you're like, oh yeah, I want to elevate to this position.
The impossible situation is to try to have one foot in the streets and have one foot in the game. That's my point, as I'm trying to make. It's impossible to keep it real and be the dude who, yeah, I'm in the hood, and yeah, I'm in the neighborhood, and I'm here and I'm there and there, and have all these dudes around, because you're not going to be able to please all those dudes.
Right. How was it to transition to, you know, living in the suburbs then?
Oh, it's great, man. Going home, seeing deers on my lawn and stuff like that. So I'm like, man, how gangster can I really talk? You know, you go home and there's deers outside, you know? It's little reindeers running around. I'm like, Rudolph.
Just want to take a second to interrupt this podcast to remind you that holiday season is coming up.
Holiday season.
And there's no better time and no better place than right now and ItsTheReal.com/shop to get your loved ones, your relatives, your girls, your
side chicks,
anybody behind bars.
Yeah.
If you want to get a present, the place to go is ItsTheReal.com/shop. Get a rhyme book. Get a t-shirts. We're going to have sweatshirts soon. ItsTheReal.com/shop for Hanukkah, for Christmas, for Kwanzaa, for...
What other holidays are
just
there?
Just
a Monday?
Any Tuesday.
Yeah.
Get your gifts at ItsTheReal.com/shop and tell us that...
Tell us we're doing an okay job.
No, I was going to say, tell us that, like, Ramon sent you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Shouts to Ramon.
Tell us that Ramon sent you. ItsTheReal.com/shop. And now back to Tru Life. So obviously you learned about like the negative stuff, but what'd you learn about like loyalty?
I've always been loyal, man. I've learned that not
from the
everybody,
other people though.
I've learned that loyalty is, there's no such thing as loyalty in the street. No one's loyal to anyone. You know, every rule that they tell you in the streets that is real is a facade. It's a lie. You know, when I went to jail, I've seen every gangster, gang member do everything that just said you're not supposed to do. They say, oh, you're not supposed to, if you're in a gang, excuse me, no disrespect to any gays or whatever, but you're not supposed to be a homosexual. Well, they're in there having sex with guys. Oh, you're not supposed to be a junkie. Well, they're in there using drugs. You're not supposed to do X, Y, Z. You're not supposed to tell. You're not supposed to do this. They're doing everything that they can possibly do. They don't care. It's every man for theirself in the street. And in prison, it's the same way. It's every man for themselves, and they trick you and they make you think it's another facade. And, you know, there's these guys who have life in prison, right? So they don't have nothing to do, right? So you don't have life in prison. You're young. Mm-hmm. They're going to make you feel like you're a part of them, you need them, and they're loyal, and they're this, and they got your back and X, Y, Z. Why? Because they're going to manipulate you to get your girl to bring them the bag. The bag in jail is the balloon stuffed with drugs in it so that he can make a living because he doesn't have family that cares for him. His family probably died. His family gave up on him a long time ago because he's a scumbag. He's a dirtbag, and he has 55 years to life. He's never coming home, ever. So his girl's no longer writing him. His friends, they're not his friends anymore. So what does he have? He has nothing but to manipulate all these other little young kids that are coming in and out the door of making them feel like they need to be part of this gang and it's a brotherhood and I really love you and I got your back and I'm XYZ. But meanwhile, he really is the opposite of every rule that he's going to give you and apply to you. And
he brings you down to his level. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just a manipulation game.
So
prison is built off of manipulation. Pretty much. And with the gang system and, you know, because the gangs kind of can, you know, control the force controls the jail. Violence controls the jail. The gangs, the drugs, controls the jail.
Yeah.
So it's just a weird situation.
So you were looking at a long bid. Mm-hmm. How did you...
I was looking at life.
How did you process that?
I bit my arms. I cried. I looked in the mirror. Lost weight, 30 pounds in less than a month. Looked like I was dying. I used to bite my arms all the time. I remember I used to go down on visits, right? And, you know, my wife would come up or whatever, and she would look down and she would look at my arms and be like, what the hell? And she would look at my arms. She was like, you're biting yourself. And I'm saying this with no shame because it's real. I like to be real, true life, right? Yeah, I used to bite my arms. You know why? When I would think about my children and I would hear their voice, I would go in a cell and I couldn't take it out of my head. And it was so painful and ripping me apart where they're telling me I'm going to get life and I'm about to do life in prison and I'm locked up for a crime I didn't do. And I'm like, this can't be real right now. This can't be. And it was like literally driving me crazy. And I was like, wow, I failed my children. And I'm like looking at the walls and I'm seeing other names of inmates who was there before me. And I'm 30 pounds wet, with bricks in my pocket, can't recognize myself. When I looked in the mirror, I felt like I was dead, literally, like I died. So I used to bite my arms because I felt like I'd rather have felt physical pain than feel a pain in my mind because mental pain is even worse. And there was nowhere for me to go, no one for me to talk to, no way for me to let it out, no way for me to really get an understanding because it was like, at the end of the day, you really want like, okay, am I getting life right now or am I not? Like, you're dying to hear that. Like, I need to know what I'm dealing with so I can be prepared to deal with it and just deal with it. I know what it is. I know how I deal with my children. I know to tell my wife to leave me. I know to tell my kids, you know, to go here or whatever it is. I can't hold on to the outside. I can't. Like, you know, my wife is trying to hold on to a relationship with me. My kids, the this, that, everything. When you have a family, that makes it worse. You know what I'm saying? So it was like that was driving me so crazy that I'd rather have felt physical pain. I'd rather have broke my arm on the wall, sat in the ER downstairs or whatever, get an outside hospital visit and think about the pain of dealing with, damn, this shit hurts, than to deal with these thoughts that I had in my head that no one can take out. I couldn't take them out. No medication, nothing. I took anxiety medication. They gave me medication of depression, anxiety, everything. Nothing could get it out. I was just stuck. I was lost. I was crazy. So for me to come out here and do what I'm doing right now, I'm literally walking on water as a testament of God. Like, it's God and is showing you that God is real. And the reason why I said walk on water, because Jesus walked on water to show that God was real. And that's what I'm doing. I'm proving all the haters wrong by, you know, who said I was too old, I was too I was too washed up. I wouldn't be able to adapt to the new sound of music. I just wasn't gonna be able to do it, and I'm proving all of the haters wrong. And how I'm doing that? By walking on water and doing the impossible. And the impossible is possible with God, and God is with me, and that's what I'm out here doing, making great music and living my life and feeding my family and just doing what I love to do.
Yeah. I mean, just like, I just want to take a second. Like, that is the most horrifying image that you had to go through. I mean, like, I can't even.
How did you?
It's real though.
How
man.
did you inside? I think there's two ways you can go, right? You can buy into this is the rest of my life right here, and sink into those thoughts and get into the routine of everything you have to go through. You're living in a cell. You're dealing with people who tell you where to go, what to do, at what time. All that.
I'm gonna be dead honest with you. I keep forgetting to say this one thing. I'm not gonna lie. I have to give a shout out. I almost want to meet him one day because he saved my life. My mother kept sending me books, spiritual books, for me to like, because my mother's very religious and spiritual, and she sent me a book by Joel Osteen called A Better Life Now.
Oh, Joel Osteen. Yeah,
Okay,
he's
yeah.
not Puerto Rican.
Yeah.
No. Well, I'm sorry, I pronounced his name wrong. She sent me that book of him, and I just read it. I don't know what it was like. I was just trying to do things to get my mind off of it, and I really didn't have nothing to do. There was no TV, there's no nothing, and I just had that book. And I said, let me read this book. And I started to read it, and I couldn't put it down. It was like he wouldn't just talk about the Bible, but he would like break down the Bible, but he would break it down in his own way. So it was very relatable because he would make it his life. And he has such a gift with words and metaphors of how he would take things out the Bible, but just tell you stories about his life. And it was just very relatable. And it just gave me this sense of, hold on a second, I'm Tru Life, right? Besides me being Tru Life, I am a child of God. And there's no way I'm ever supposed to put my head down and give up. Through the toughest of circumstances, I must keep my head up, and it is a sin from God to question God's will. So if it's in God's will for me to get life, then I'm going to get life. If I'm not going to get life, then I won't get life. Whatever God wants for me is what's going to happen. I can't sit here and just dwell in the worrying, even though they got me in a worry state, and I can't give up. I got to put my head up. And from that day, I started to put my head up. It started to give me a little strength. I started to gain my weight back a little bit. I started to work out, and I just kept reading his book. I would read it all the time, and it would get me in a positive mode. That's what made me like want to do biblical studies when I was up north, because I just wanted to not only learn, but like just be around something that was positive to escape the gate noise. The gate noise is 24 hours a day of dudes yelling, yo, baby got more money. The most ignorant, stupidest conversations in the world. Yo, baby got more money than Jay-Z. You crazy? Jay got way more money than him. And I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, you can't be doing this to me, Lord. I'm sitting here trying to sleep, and this is what I gotta hear. And then they yell, and the way they talk in prison, like, They say things 40 times. They have to repeat it when they say it on the gate. So you'd be like, yo, Jay-Z, he got way more money than baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, they'll repeat it, though, like literally like 40 times. And it's like the most ignorant conversations you'll hear on the gate, talking about the most dumbest shit. They're yelling and screaming, and try a couple hundred people all yelling and screaming at the same time, back and forth. People are throwing kites and passing lines, and it's just chaotic. So I used to just put up my curtain and just try to kind of escape from all of that, where I would just find peace and serenity by just studying God and religion and different things. And it would like take me out of there. I would just escape out of there. I wouldn't be in prison for a little while.
Were you able to listen to music as well, or just? Yeah,
but it was like we wouldn't be hip to none of the new style, none of the new music and stuff like that, because all we had was like 106. I don't know. It was BET. Now I don't know if it was 106 in Park yet. I don't know if it was off at that time or what. But we had BET. If I'm not mistaken, it might have been 106 in Park was still playing videos. So we had that channel. So we would see that, and then we would get tapes. But in Clinton Correctional Facility, it's one of the oldest facilities and one of the most toughest facilities. So they don't let in just any old tape place. So it was like hard to get in tapes, and it was a lot of old music. There was like, dudes in there listening to Tupac and Biggie and, stuff like that. And the old New York, not really like what's
new New
going
York.
on now.
Yeah.
They don't really know about really, I don't know if it's changing right now, but there wasn't like, we wasn't in there going crazy to like, Little Uzi Vert was not being played in a prison.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like dudes were not in there like, you know,
doing the shoot dance.
Yeah.
Black Boy JB.
Yeah.
No one was in the yard doing that. Right. You understand what I'm saying? So it was like we're living way behind. We were stuck way behind. So that's why it's so crazy that people be like, damn, like how he didn't miss a beat. Like and so in tune, and the music sounds so natural right now and sounds so relevant because they're thinking like, damn, he must have been in there like listening to wild like music. But no, I wasn't.
So we've had, you know, guys up here. Mano, when he did time, he didn't want visitors. Did you want people to come see you or not see that?
Nah, you're kind of broken. You know what I'm saying? Like at times, it depends what part. When I went up north, sometimes you kind of like wanted visitors, except, you know, when I was facing the time, I didn't want visitors. Then when when it was over and I was up north and I was dealing with it, you know, you wanted at least to see your friends and your family, the ones that really care. Because then I learned another thing was I had fake friends that were coming. Fake friends who just wanted to come because they heard a rumor that I killed myself or attempted to kill myself.
What?
So they'll come like to see like, dude, like you'll see them looking for the rope mark around your neck. Like, oh, I heard Tru Life hung himself. There'll be rumors. Oh, Tru Life tried to hang himself. Oh, Tru Life is in PC. Oh, Tru Life is this. Oh, Tru Life is that. So they'll come and I'll know because they'll be like, bro, like I'm sitting here facing life in prison. You came here to see if I was in fucking PC or if I tried to kill myself or if I was this or if I was that. You really showing me who you are right now. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like, you don't give a fuck about me. You not even, you know what I'm saying? Like you worried about Tru Life. Nigga, this is Robert Rosado locked up in here right now. You understand what I'm saying? This is supposed to be your brother. So it's just you learn and it's just like, man, I don't even, and then the shit don't even be true that they're coming to even see you about. But it's like, whether it was true or not, shouldn't even been the point. It shouldn't even mattered. Wouldn't even matter. Like if I was on medication, if I tried to kill myself, if I was in fucking PC, if I was here, if I was there, what the fuck does that have to, you know what I mean? Like you should have been coming here like, bro, you okay? You good? You need anything? Your family needs anything? I'm coming to see how my brother's doing.
Yeah.
Give a fuck about nothing else. I'm coming to see how my bro's doing. Yeah. You holding on? You know, the kids need anything? They need me to come paint their room or X, Y, and Z. Like, so when you don't get that, it's just like heartbreaking. So it just showed me like I really had no friends. You know, I maybe 1 or 2 survived, but I really like lost 98%. You know what I'm saying? Of friends, family, and it was just like people were caring about Tru Life. That it just showed me they didn't care about me. No.
So you were in jail for a crime that you didn't commit.
Yep.
How do you reconcile that? Like that's a lot of days to you know cycle it through your head.
I can't get that back. There's no changing, and you know I deal with a lot of things to this day. Like you know what I'm saying, like. People expected me to jump out and come out and just have 1,000 songs the first week I came out. You understand what I'm saying? Because they're like, oh, this person did it, that person did it. You know, Gucci Man, look at Gucci Man, or look at this one. None of those artists were facing life in prison, bro. None of them artists were, you know, sat for 3 years straight, no bail, for a crime they didn't do and are facing life in prison, literally. And you have one person passed away, and you have another person in a coma. So you may be getting ready to be facing 2 bodies. And then besides the 2 bodies, you got 1,000 other charges. Assaults, weapons, this, that, all these trumped up charges. I don't know no rappers that were doing that. So it's not the same. You may even know a rapper that did 8 years. You may know, but I never know a rapper that just came from being with Jay-Z, sitting courtside at the Knicks game, the Nets game, and having billboards on Times Square to sitting there facing life. Like, you're going to die in here, buddy. And I'm throwing it in your face. Like, you're going to be gone forever. Then you turn on the radio. They're like, rapper, Tru Life. You grab the newspaper, the magazine, every blog. Everybody's like, rappers rapping about it. And then nobody was saying Tru Life is not guilty. Or Tru Life didn't do this. Tru Life didn't do that. It was like I was painted so bad that it was like everybody, before they even knew the facts of the case, they already just pictured me being guilty, and everybody was like, he's done. You know what I'm saying? You had even 50 Cent mentioning my name in his raps. Like, it was just, my shit was everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it was just everywhere, and it was bad. So it was like, it's not the same thing, bro, to come home. So it's like I lost everything. Lost my house, lost my cars. Did Gucci man come home to no house, no car, on the IRS money, broke, not having $2 to his name, a million different problems, no health care. You can't even go to the hospital. You got health issues. You don't even know where to start. Like, what am I supposed to do? Go get Medicaid? And you understand? Gucci man didn't have these problems I had.
So what's
you understand? So everybody's shit is different. And my shit was severe, different, traumatizing, crazy. It was retarded. So I had to go and get my personal life straight first. I had to, go and fix my family, fix my kids.
How'd you do that?
And once I, just spending time with them, and I'm still doing it now. It's a process. It's not a one-day process. They went through a lot. Imagine your son going to school and then someone Googling who his dad is and being like, oh, snap, his father's a famous rapper. You know what? His father's in jail for murder. And your son going to school in a district where they're not in the street. My kids didn't live in the ghetto. My kids lived in a Leave It to Beaver neighborhood, so in the suburbs where they don't understand this kind of behavior. And, and the young kids don't understand, It's a different kind of life. My kid not growing up in the ghetto, he's not growing up, they would have been like, oh, the kids would have related and understood.
So
with kids running around Googling me and someone Googled me and, the word spreading around, like that's a lot. Now my son had to go to see a counselor and, and he's having, people talking about him and, and dealing with me. Mm-hmm. So now it's even more pressure on me. It's like, these are things that I'm still dealing with now that I have to, go through day by day. And we're just going through it as a family and just sticking through it and putting God first and just talking through it and seeing counseling. And it's something that we're living, bro.
What is the glimmer of hope? When is that moment when you're like, I think I can see my way out of jail?
There was I don't know. I thought it was over. I thought I was going to be in there forever. I said, until I read that book, it gave me strength and gave me hope. That book, the Better Life Now, Joel Osteen. That book is when it was hope.
But
that book brought hope. That was the moment it brought hope. I don't know when it was, but it brought me hope. It was like towards like right before it was maybe like a year and a half into it. You know what I'm saying?
So who came to you and said, you know what?
God came in my cell, brother, and came in my cell and gave me hope. He walked right in my cell and he looked me in my face and said, I broke you down to absolutely nothing. Yes, it was me. I wanted you to go that way. You were going that way, and you didn't listen to me. I tried to get you to listen to me. I showed you a million signs, and you didn't pay attention to not one of them. You ignored every one of them. I don't need you to ignore them no more. You're going to be all right. I'm right here with you. I ain't leave nowhere. I just needed to shake you up like this. I need you to see this.
But you didn't get your life sentence.
No, I still didn't even get the 8-year sentence.
And
but
you were released.
I got that hope when he came in my cell and he came in my mind. I wasn't released. I was still in prison facing life. And he came in my cell and told me, bro, I'm going to get you through this and you're going to live and you're going to make it through this and we're going to get through this. And you were born to go through this. And I allowed you to go through this for a reason. And then I knew that it was my purpose to go through this.
And what was stepping out into freedom like?
It was very weird. I felt funny being around people, seeing cars, just everything, riding in a car for the first time, just everything. It was a weird process. I remember going to the club for the first time and it happened really kind of quick. With Future, I really wasn't ready for it. I was like paranoid. I was like just looking around. I'm like, it was too much for me. I felt overwhelmed. Like I was anxietied up. I never told him that, but I was catching like an anxiety attack in the club, like literally. Like I just felt super overwhelmed and it was just too early for me.
And technology has,
It's crazy, though, because before I walked in, though, there was an iPhone, so I was kind of hip a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Not much changed as far as with the iPhone and stuff like that. There was still, you could FaceTime and all that. But, I think Instagram and all this stuff, like, took it to a whole new level, and things was a little different with that, and I had to learn. Yeah.
So when you settled in at home, like you said, you didn't have a million songs you had written. You're dealing with real shit.
Yeah, I wrote some stuff, but I didn't write a lot of stuff, I had to get into music mode, and I didn't get into music mode till after I settled in, for quite a little some time, and with my kids, and my son and my kids just told me, like, pretty much, Daddy, go get them. go get them. Go do what you do. Like,
But you had the urge
want
to
you
make
do 'em.
music?
I wanted to, but I needed the pass from them. If they didn't want me to make music, then I wouldn't make music. I'd have stood home and stood right there with them. But, I got the pass from them. It was like my son was really into music. He loved music. And he was just like, go get him. Like, go turn up. My son gets mad at me. What do you mean your record got pushed back? What do you mean you got one song? Dad, how you got one song on Spotify? How? I don't know an artist in the world who has one song. And I'm like, oh my God.
They're on Tidal.
No one stresses me out like him. I just went through a thing yesterday where
Sounds like he's the manager.
I went through a thing yesterday where I was having an issue where we were getting clearance on Tory Lanez was like so last minute. We were almost ready to pull a record. My son loves the record. If I would have called him home and told him this record was going off, I would never be able to walk through that door. He would have caught a nervous breakdown. He'll come in there, what kind of record company you're signed to? He goes crazy on me. It's pushed back again 4 times? Oh yeah, where they do this at? I want to know who you do business with. I'm like, oh my God, I gotta go home and tell him this record ain't on there. I was catching a nervous breakdown yesterday. All the stress just came from him. Yeah. That's all I thought about. All the pressure was on him. Just him being disappointed.
I have 2 more prison questions, and then we can move on again to something else. But one, you were there, I think, in 2015.
Yeah, I got released in 16.
So that was where the escapee. That's where the
Not
escape
many
was.
people. I see been doing research, man. Not many people. Like some people, like they don't do too much research. Like so, I can see like you've done certain research about certain
not really.
about certain questions.
You said Clinton. I was like,
yes,
I was
there. I was there through the whole prison break. All that, sat there through the whole thing. Like we were on lockdown for pretty much the whole time. For like actually even longer. Like because they had to do a whole investigation and all that. So it was like doing box time pretty much. Like we were just locked in the whole time. Like I knew the lady and everything, like who was involved in the situation as far as like accused of, helping them escape or whatever that set the thing up. She worked in the side of the building where I was on.
How does word get to you about the escape?
It got to us before it got to the media or anything because it got to us when we seen the way they were searching our cells all crazy. They were running up and down, the galleries while crazy, waking us up. They call them galleries. It's crazy, right? Because they call them companies actually, like the company on like I knew prison from watching TV, jail movies or movies like, and you would be like the tier, you throw them off the tier, So when I went to prison, not to jump off, this is something funny though. They first asked me, they were like, "What company you on?" Because it's like company 1, then 2 company, 3 company, like depending, how high you up. Like the 3rd floor would be the 3rd company, 2nd floor would be the 2nd company, 1st floor. So they're like, "Yo, what company you on?" I'm like, "Def Jam." They're like, he's like, no. He's like, no. He's like, "I meant what company you on?" And I'm like, "Oh, I mean Rockefeller." And he's like, "Bro, no, what company you on?" I'm like, "Yeah, Rockefeller." He just looked at me like, this guy is cuckoo. He lost his mind. They just walked right away from me. They thought I was the craziest guy in the world. Yeah, but I'm sorry that I jumped off, but I just thought about that situation. But I was there through that whole situation, and it was crazy. We were watching it on the news, and then they shut off our TVs because they didn't want us to see it.
Oh my
like
God.
The stuff that they didn't want us to see, like what was getting put out there, because I guess they didn't want us to have certain knowledge.
That's a crazy
or whatever.
situation.
Yeah, and we just started going, like the inmates were just losing their mind, going crazy, kicking the walls, and everybody just started, burning stuff and throwing stuff out of the cells. They would light toilet paper and throwing that just everything onto the gallery, throwing shit and just screaming. Yeah, everybody was just going crazy. It was it was just hard to explain, man. It was like, go, run. Like everybody was cheering for them. We were watching every channel cheering for them. Go, run, get away. Like the whole jail was just
Would
going
you
crazy.
ever have thought that lady would have been in a situation like that?
Nah, nobody. I didn't even think it was a way to freaking escape out of there, to tell you the truth. You know what I'm saying? I didn't think it was a way to get up out of there. It was really because it's a maximum state penitentiary,
in the
max
middle of
A.
nowhere.
Yeah.
Middle of nowhere. Like it was a serious
Near like
place to be.
Plattsburgh or something, right?
Yeah,
Like up there?
yeah. It's a serious place, man. No place for no man. ODB actually was there too. I spent time in the same cell as Tupac. ODB was there. Sean was there. Shout out to Bobby Shmurda. Bobby Shmurda is actually there now, and I actually, nobody knows this, but I actually got hit with a violation for sending Bobby Shmurda money through third party. And somehow someone in there, like, I guess told on me because I sent money to like 5 inmates. It was Bobby Shmurda and 4 other inmates that I was actually with because I wanted them to make sure that they had a good holiday. You know what I'm saying? And I was just trying to do something correct. I mean, I actually sent it through third party because I didn't think it was nothing of it. It wasn't like my name on it or anything. And I gave it to my friend and I made him send it. But somehow it was like told someone in the facility, I guess, was bitter that I sent money to those guys and I didn't send it to them or something, and must have went and told and said this guy's sending money to the inmates, and they contacted me pretty much and gave me a violation like for having contact with them, even though it was through third party and I just sent money is all I did. You know, was to them. Up. Yeah, but he's over there now, so free Bobby Shmurda.
Yeah.
I also want to know, are you able to watch something like Making a Murderer, or is that like way too close for you? Do you know what Making a Murderer is?
No, I don't know what it is, but you know the weird part is like sometimes, you know, they'll be like, yo, throw on Power. Not to diss Power or nothing like, but dudes will be like, you know, oh, put on Power. You know, I want to watch Power, or put on this or put on that. I don't really get nothing out of watching these shows, right? Not saying that Power's a great show. Shout out to 50 Cent. I hear it's a great show, and I did see one of the shows one time, and it was a great show. You know, it seemed very entertaining. But to me, you got to understand, is not that entertaining watching this because I really live this life. Right. So it's like opposites attract. Yeah. I'm like, put on Desperate Housewives. Right. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
something that's so far from
so
that
far
reality.
Beyond. Like before I left, that was like one of my favorite shows. I used to love Eva Longoria. Shout out to Eva Longoria. I used to watch Desperate Housewives like religiously every Sunday, like dead ass, because opposites attract. So it's like, I don't want to hear about the hood and his man set him up, his man ratted on him, or his man ended up killing him, or his man stole from him and then he bodied him. Unfortunately, I know this too well. My friends killed my friends firsthand. You know, my friends went to jail for this and this guy did this. I can tell you every series, every hood movie, how it's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, I'm like, oh, he's about to do this. They're like, how you know? I know, nigga, because I did this already.
Yeah, Making a Murderer is a documentary on Netflix about a man who was wrongfully convicted twice.
Oh, okay.
And is still serving, and it's about his story, and then the second season just came about trying to get him and his nephew, who was coerced into.
I don't really like this. Something like that. It seems, you know, I love real things, and I love you because you learn from other people's lives and documentaries type of stuff and stuff like that. That's like my favorite kind of stuff. But one thing I try not to do is now, or period, I've always been like that, but I realize this more now than ever, is that I watch what I put into my mind, because before I went away, I used to watch First 48, like religiously. I used to watch it a lot for some reason. And then next thing you know, I was like living it. And one thing I know about me, right, with my mind, everything I think about, if I think about it a lot, like I'm the type of person where I'm a thinker, I'm an overthinker. It's like what makes me great makes me bad. I don't sleep. You know, I get anxiety and stuff like that because I be like, I get overwhelmed sometimes. I'm like a thinker where I think so much. I'm great with like, you know, being creative and thinking of creative thoughts. And because I'm such a thinker, so I think of crazy concepts. I think of crazy lyrics. I think of, you know, great ideas. But that same thing, the gift is the curse. When I want to go to sleep, I can't sleep. I'm sitting there trying to think, or I'm doing this. So it's the same thing. The way my mind works, it works like this with negative things too. So when I put negative things into my mind, that's why it's not really good to be on my bad side and be like an enemy of mine, where you like did something wrong to me to the point where I got to like think about you because now you're on my mind. And it's like, if I'm you're in my mind and you're like in my head and I can't get you out, it's like, kind of it's not gonna sit well, and it's gonna make me react in a very bad way. So I watch what I put into my mind, and I try not to hang around negative people. I try to hang around people who talk positive thoughts now. Not, yo, I got this lick, we could catch this robbery, let's go catch this, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like just negative things. I try to hang around people who's positive. So these positive thoughts that I'm putting that I can't get out. So now I have these positive images in my head. So that's why I like to watch things that's more in a positive light than in a negative light, because I feel like I have the power to bring them to life, even though it may not be reality. The power of God, I feel like, is in your mind. I tell people this all the time. Don't dream about making things happen because you wake up from dreams. Be an envisionist and envision yourself where you want to be. And if you envision it hard enough and long enough, I promise you it will happen. And I didn't realize that until it happened. When you become successful in one thing and you come from nothing, like absolutely nothing, where it's like, this is impossible for you to do this. Like, so if you go from being the wackest rapper in the world to signing a deal with Jay-Z, running with Snoop Dogg, you know, sitting side by side with the greatest artists of all time, you know, Nas, you know, legends, icons, and doing the impossible. Once you do it once, you learn the power of God, and you're like, hold on. This may be hard. This may feel like it's not gonna happen, but it's gonna happen. As long as I believe that it can happen. Like, someone can have talent, right? And be super talented, but really don't have the confidence, doesn't believe in himself, don't have these visions that I'm telling you about. Guess what? It's not gonna happen. This guy could be not as talented. He has all the drive in the world though. And he has these visions in his head that's like a curse that he cannot get out. Everybody be like, oh, that nigga's whack, he ain't gonna blow up. He's gonna be the biggest artist in the world. He's gonna be up there with some of the biggest artists in the world. Nobody just even knows it yet.
And just for the record, by the way, Tru pointed to me when he said that I was not as talented, but I have the drive. Yeah.
If you
It's
got the
crazy
drive,
how
that's
well
the
you
first
know us after sitting down for an
that's
hour
the
and a half.
first step though. It's
Yeah.
the first step. Sometimes it gets hard for me to do certain things, right? And I'll be like ready to give up, but I've been there where I've been ready to give up before, and it's like that's right when it happens. The magic moment happens when you're supposed to give up. The devil wants you to just give up. He wants you to believe it can't happen, give up. And then that magical moment's gonna happen when you don't give up. And you hang in there through those tough times where everything comes where it's not supposed to happen. Who thought Cardi B would be Cardi B? No one. Who thought French Montana would be French Montana and have platinum records, multi-platinum records around the world?
Jeff
I
Rosenthal.
remember, I'm gonna be honest though, I didn't. You know, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I came up with French Montana, and I'm not dissing them, but it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
But maybe they envisioned it for themselves.
that's the key.
Yeah.
That's the key. It's not what someone else envisions in you, because someone could think this guy's gonna be, we have whack A&Rs
Right.
that don't know nothing, right? And they go sign these artists and all that, and they think these artists are gonna be big, and they don't become big, right? My cousin, I laugh at him to this day all the time, right? He turned down on, because he's an A&R. He could have signed Drake. You ain't see it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
You ain't see it. So some people don't see it. They don't get it. So it don't matter what other people don't see or what they do see. Because sometimes you can see it like, this guy's a star. And you believe in him. You think he's going to blow up, and he doesn't blow up. And he can have all the talent, but he doesn't have the it factor. He doesn't have this thing, this desire, he doesn't see it.
Right.
It's not for you to see it. It's for them to see it.
And far too many times people put their career into someone else's hands.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe in
can't.
yourself,
You have to believe in you.
Right.
You have to believe in you. Like, I'll give you an example. Casanova 2 Times may not be the most talented artist in the whole world, right? But I'll tell you one thing he has. Belief in him.
Oh, yeah.
He believes in him in
He's
a
been
whole nother
up
level
here, yeah.
where he believes in him, and he has so much drive that he's not taking no for an answer.
Yeah.
So he's been able to work and go from nothing to something and having a career and finding a way to feed his family.
For sure.
So no matter how big he's gonna be or how big of an artist he may be or not be, he is successful right now because he's feeding his family.
Exactly
and
right.
he's having a career, and he doesn't have to go live the life that he once had to live. He doesn't have to go steal, swipe, whatever it was, sell drugs, whatever hustle it may be. He can just make music and go, tour and get walkthroughs and get bags. And, I'm super proud of him. I'm super proud of his grind. I'm super proud of his drive. And I feel like his drive has got him where he's at. I'm not saying that he's not talented. He's very talented. But his drive is everything.
when you got out and a lot of people wanted to run by your side because of who you are, what you've dealt with, whatever
Yeah.
credibility you have, whatever headlines they see, did you have any suspicions? Were you like, I want to keep people sort of at arm's length? How did you deal with that?
Nah, the certain people that reached out, you know what I'm saying? I was just really blessed. Like, some people be like, don't want to do features or think like I'm trying to lean on certain artists like to do records. Like, Future reaching out to me, Future was like my brother.
You know him
that
a
was,
long time.
That was not even like, you know what I'm saying? That was like family, and that was something that been going on. Me and Future been doing records before Future had a hit record out. When he was Meathead and, we were in a dungeon coming up together, like, when nobody believed. I remember us having our moment, right, when we signed the deal already. And we were at Philip Plein, or what was that clothing line?
Yeah.
Philip Plein. We were at the fashion thing that he had. He had a show, and we were in his dressing room, and he turned around. He told me, he was like, man, he said, you know how proud I am right now, bro? This is like the happiest moment, one of the happiest moments of my life right now, bro. And I'm like, what? He's like, that I keep getting calls that me and you got the hottest record in the street. He's like, you know what that feels like? All I keep thinking about is how we survived and we got through the era. And even more crazier is you being away all of this time, coming home, and I can't figure out how you're able to do those bounces that you do on these records and how you dressing the way you're dressing right now. And you got it all down pat. He's like, this shit is crazy to me. He's like, bro, this is like one of the proudest moments for me is this shit, just watching this shit happen with me and you, and just like, I wouldn't pick, if I could, I couldn't choose nobody better than you, like, to do this shit with. And he was just like, it was a touching moment to me. And it was just like, wow, like, you know what I'm saying? It just felt good. And it was just, I don't know, it was just a weird thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So you got this new project out. You got this new situation. So there were rumors that it was going to be strictly with Future. But you've done your own deal. No,
I signed a situation with Future, right? Because sometimes I bounce all over the place. I'm a little MO. MO means MO is a little crazy. That's that's another term for crazy. I'm a little crazy. I'm a little shot. You got to deal with me. I got PTSD, man. So my mind drifts off sometimes. Back to what we saying. What you were saying? What was the point? I lost the point again.
You got a couple different situations in terms of your companies now.
Okay, yeah. Okay, yeah. So I signed a deal with Future. When I signed the deal with Future, you know what I'm saying? I didn't really want to sign a deal when I first came home. But I figured signing a deal with him made the most sense because of our relationship, because he's my brother. So I ended up signing a deal with him. He was like, bro, it's crazy that you came home. I'm on top of the world. I'm one of the biggest artists in the world. XYZ, you got to come fuck with me. So I ended up signing a deal with him. We did the deal over there at Epic. I had the record out. It was top 40 at Urban Radio. And I didn't like the way that Epic was really handling the situation, and me having the experience that I have in the game. I told Future, I just had to be honest with him, and I said, this really ain't it right here. And we kind of agreed that, you know, the things wasn't moving the right way as far as on their side of what we needed them to do and move how we wanted them to move. So I felt like maybe it was best that I go do what I was, you know, going to do from the first thing, which was go independent where I can just move the way I want to move. And he was like, man, make that happen. I'll get you all the clearances and you're still free bands no matter what. And, you know, you're still with the gang no matter what. And you'll still be able to, as long as we can get it where you can still rep the, you know, free bands and I can still rep you and I can still be a part of you and you can be independent, you'll win. You get best of both worlds. So let's make sure you get that. So we made sure we got that. So that's where I'm at. It's Mogul Tree, Free Bands, Empire. And I'm doing my thing over there. And, you know, I'm free bands forever. That's not super dope. That's not like a
you don't need a contract to tell you that.
No contracts, no nothing. That's forever. I could tattoo that on my face pretty much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's family. That's my bro right there. So it's bigger than that.
Well, shouts to everybody over at Empire.
Ghazi.
Yeah, shout out to Ghazi, the whole team, my whole new team and all that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, you lived 3 or 4 different lives, man. And congratulations on you know, that first part, but especially that second part, and more than anything, this third part now, man, because you dealt with some real shit, you're dealing with some real shit, and that you put, you know, your family first and God and everything, and now that music's coming out, and, you know, you went from you know, Donnie Wahlberg and recording in like the New Kid on the Block studio to being that New Kid on the Block back again. So Facts. Congratulations. Thanks so much for coming up here. And I
just want to say one thing that I didn't get to answer real quick, which was you mentioned about the artists, like a lot of the artists or whatever, and I didn't really answer that question well. Like, I didn't really want to do an album that was like full of features and stuff like that. That wasn't my thing. I'm a real artist. Like, I don't need features to do with anybody. But it was a blessing. Like, how do you turn down T.I. wanting to do a record with you? How do you turn down Tory Lanez meeting you in the club and being like, bro, I've been watching you on DVDs forever. Like, this shit is crazy. Can I take a picture with you? That's how I met Tory. He literally asked to take a picture with me. Like, bro, I'm like one of your biggest fans. And I'm like, bro, you gotta be kidding me right now. Like, you're one of my biggest fans. You're one of the fucking hottest artists in the game right now, killing shit.
My kid
I'm fresh out of
jail.
jail.
Exactly.
My sons is like fucking streaming you to death at home right now. And I'm like, how the fuck you even know who I am? Like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, bro, I love you. I'll fuck with you. Can I get a picture with you, dude? I'm like, can you get a picture? Like, you gotta be kidding me. Come on, my nigga. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't resist that type of love. You know, T.I., you know, Rick Ross, and you know what I'm saying, all these different guys. So the features that I do have, and which is I've done records with so many people, it's just been blessings of God and these people just reaching out and just messing with me because they know, you know, I'm a real person, a real individual, and they just really mess with the individual that I am. So I'm just grateful for that, and I'm appreciative for that, man. And shout out to everybody that's on my album, and shout out to every artist that's ever done a record with me, and you know what I'm saying, and co-signed me and been a part, from Snoop Dogg to Jay-Z to, you know, Future to T.I., Tory Lanez, and there's too many to name, man. You know, even Ronald Isley, you know, it's too many. My story's too crazy. We'll be here for hours, days, and, you know, we can write a book as we going along. We'll be documenting my life if we go through it all, but I'm not a groupie. I'm just, you know what I'm saying? I'm just blessed that, you know, a lot of people have embraced me in the game, and, you know, some of them has been real cats, and those real ones I have real relationships with, and I'm appreciative for that.
Yeah, well, you're always welcome back here.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man.
No, like really, and we don't invite that, like, we don't extend that to everybody.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
I'm saying, like, you're always welcome back here.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
And-
Grateful, man.
Yeah, well, thank
Yeah.
you for sharing your story.
I thank y'all, man, for giving me the platform to do it, man. And you guys were
No
pretty
doubt.
smooth, man. You guys were definitely cool, man.
All right.
Well, Lower East Side to Upper West Side.
I know,
you know?
yeah.
East side, west side day, baby. New York, we back, baby. Yeah.
Thanks everyone for listening to this new episode of A Waste Time with It's The Real. Jeff, if you want to find out more about us, I'm Eric, the curly one. You are Jeff, the tall one. Together, we are It's The Real, no apostrophe, no spaces. If you want to find out more about this podcast, it's called A Waste of Time with It's The Real. And we also have our other podcast with the Locks called Two Jews and Two Black Dudes Review the Movies. Please go check that out. If people want to find out more about anything that's going on in the world of It's The Real, where can they go?
You can always go to ItsTheReal.com, ItsTheReal.com. No apostrophes, no spaces. There are never any apostrophes or spaces. Go to ItsTheReal.com. You can also find our podcast. Go to iTunes, search for A Waste of Time with It's The Real, or we are on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/A Waste of Time. Or if you're looking on Spotify,
I feel like a lot of our fans are listening on Spotify right now.
you want to know what? If you want to listen to the Joe Budden podcast on Spotify, go to soundcloud.com/A Waste of Time.
That is the perfect plan. Please go do that.
Yeah. We have our Two Jews and Two Black Dudes Review the Movies podcast. That's at soundcloud.com/Two Jews, Two Black Dudes.
Jeff, I know there's a lot of people out there who are looking to follow us on social media. Where can they go?
At It's The Real on Twitter. At It's The Real on Instagram. We are also on Facebook, but I promise you we're not putting anything up there.
I haven't used it since March, I believe. So
And it's showing because
staying strong.
we got a Facebook notification that said that 9 people have interacted with our page on Facebook this week.
Damn.
And
Shout out to us.
and none of them like clicked on anything. It was just 9 people.
So why
Visited.
are we even going to Facebook? We're not, right?
No, we're not.
Okay, Facebook's over. Jeff, we'd love to shout out all of our fans, even the 9 who check for us on Facebook.
Well, especially.
So here is where we like to shout you guys out. We appreciate the fact that you keep spreading the word for our little podcast, your third favorite podcast, A Waste of Time with It's The Real. So we want to say thank you to all you out there who are doing your job. Jeff, who do you want to thank?
I want to shout out Desmond Morris, who we hung out with, but mostly I hung out with at the Goldie Awards by A-Track.
Right.
Out in Brooklyn.
Yes.
And had a great time with him and his friend who I don't remember, but I do remember that he, I don't remember his name. I do remember him.
Yeah.
He lives in Stamford, but the city that works, and he enjoyed that. And I know that they're software engineers. There was a lot of stuff I know about them. I just can't remember the other guy's name.
Damn.
But shouts to Desmond and his friend, who I'm going to say his name is
Ramon.
Terry? Yeah, Ramon. It's Ramon.
Jeff, I want to shout out someone else we ran into at the Goldie Awards. Shout out to A-Track. I want to shout out our friend Irvin Benitez.
Oh, wow,
Irv, who's been on this podcast. He is behind a whole bunch of activations, including the very popular Greatest Day Ever that happens up in the Bronx. And he does the best job in throwing a carnival party atmosphere that is just one of a kind. Shout out to our guy Irv, who has been a longtime supporter of us and this podcast, and please do check out his very inspiring story, episode number 123. Also, real quick, want to say that if you guys have the time and inclination, please go to iTunes and leave a review and a rating and a nice comment for us. Why not?
Do it. Tell him Ramon sent you.
Tell him Ramon sent you. As always, Jeff, not for real, for real.
Sure.
We'll see you guys next week. Right.